Everyone believes Greek fire was a medieval fantasy. A magical substance that burned on water. A secret weapon so impossible that modern historians dismissed it as propaganda. Something chroniclers exaggerated to explain embarrassing defeats. Popular culture reinforces this skepticism. Movies show it as theatrical dragon's breath. Games treat it like a fantasy spell. The logic seems sound: fire needs oxygen, water extinguishes fire, therefore a flame that burns on seawater violates basic chemistry. So the assumption persists: Greek fire was wildly exaggerated or never worked as described. At best, crude naphtha in clay pots. At worst, complete fiction. But medieval naval warfare didn't work that way. Picture yourself commanding a warship in 678, sailing toward Constantinople. Your vessel is a Dromon, 70 feet of pine planking caulked with oakum and sealed with pitch. The deck smells of tar and hemp. Every surface touching seawater is waterproofed with resin. Your rigging, oars, sealed hull, all coated in flammable petroleum compounds to keep the Mediterranean out. You're not facing swords or arrows. You're facing chemistry. Byzantine naval combat operates at brutal proximity. 30 to 50 feet separates vessels during engagement. Ships can't retreat quickly. A Dromon makes maybe 3 knots under oars. Your crew of 200 is packed tight. Half are rowers. A quarter are marines. Everyone is combustible. The Byzantine predicament, defending a maritime empire against numerically superior fleets. They need tactical asymmetry so decisive it breaks conventional naval doctrine entirely. Greek fire isn't a single chemical. It's a weapons system. A bronze siphon at the bow. A pressure chamber heated with coal. A liquid mixture, petroleum distillates, likely naphtha, combined with pine resin for adhesion and sulfur compounds for ignition stability. The mechanical advantage isn't firepower. It's material compatibility. When your enemy's primary defense, pitch caulking, is chemically identical to your weapon's fuel source, you don't need much fire. You need the right fire. You're 50 feet from a Byzantine warship when the bronze nozzle rotates toward you. Crew pumps bellows. Pressure builds. Then it fires. A pressurized jet, continuous, directed, roaring, shoots across the gap. The stream is thick. Viscous. On fire before it leaves the nozzle. When it hits your bow, the myth dies. The liquid doesn't splash and extinguish. It adheres. It spreads. It coats the pitch-sealed planking like oil coating oil, which is exactly what's happening. Your ship's waterproofing is petroleum-based. The weapon is petroleum-based. They're miscible. They bond. You order water thrown on the flames. This is instinct. This is doctrine for every fire at sea. The fire doubles in area. The burning liquid is hydrophobic. It repels water on a molecular level. When seawater hits it, surface tension breaks. The water doesn't extinguish the flame. It creates surface area. It carries burning globules into deck seams, between planks, under tar coatings. Every bucket spreads ignition deeper into your ship's structure. The sound isn't crackling wood. It's a sustained roar, like wind through a cave, but liquid and burning. Pitch ignites instantly. Caulk seams run the entire hull. Once ignition starts, it propagates through the resin network like a fuse. Your oars catch. Pine burns hot and fast. Smoke pools at deck level, dense with petroleum vapor. You can't see 20 feet. You can't coordinate defense. You can't navigate. Armor fails you. Mail conducts heat directly to skin. A marine jumps overboard to escape. The burning slick on the water wraps around him. He's swimming through fire. This is the mechanical truth. Byzantine warships are built from the same material family as the weapon. When Greek fire contacts pitch-sealed wood, it's catalyzing existing fuel. Your ship isn't being set on fire. Your ship is fire waiting to happen. Greek fire is just a match. If you're enjoying cutting through medieval myths like this, consider subscribing. Arms and Impact breaks down how weapons and armor actually worked, beyond the movies and into real combat. The engagement distance, 30 to 50 feet, isn't random. It's the effective range of the siphon system. The bronze nozzle isn't decorative. Bronze resists petroleum corrosion. Iron would degrade. Wood would char. The Byzantines don't use Greek fire in storms or when wind blows toward their fleet. This isn't a miracle weapon. It's an engineered system with operating parameters as strict as any modern munition. But within those parameters, it's devastating. Wooden warships sealed with pitch don't just burn. They're pre-soaked kindling wrapped in accelerant. Greek fire doesn't overpower them. It activates them. What this forced naval commanders to do was abandon centuries of Mediterranean combat doctrine. Enemy fleets stopped closing to ramming distance. They refused grappling range. Arab naval manuals from the 8th century explicitly prohibit approaching Byzantine vessels bow to bow. Engagement doctrine shifts to standoff missile combat. Byzantine ship design evolves around the weapon. Forecastles rise higher to protect siphon crews. Siphon mounts get armored housings. The ships become weapons platforms. Greek fire stops being a kill weapon and becomes a denial weapon. You don't need to burn every ship. You need to burn one. The effect does the rest. Fleets scatter. Blockades break. The real solution wasn't more fire. It was smarter deployment. Byzantine commanders use Greek fire to control space. They ignite the sea between their fleet and attackers. They create burning barriers that last hours. But the system has costs. Siphon crews need specialized training. Mishandling causes catastrophic backblast. Storage is dangerous. One spark destroys the ship. The weapon's effectiveness creates strategic dependence. Byzantium can't lose the formula. Can't let enemies capture intact siphons. The empire executes its own technicians on suspicion of espionage. Security costs strangle innovation. The formula becomes static. Fixed. Irreplaceable. When Byzantine central authority collapses in the 13th century, Greek fire vanishes. Not because the formula was magic. Because the industrial base, the specialized knowledge, and the imperial monopoly shattered simultaneously. The myth says Greek fire was impossible. The truth is more uncomfortable. It worked because Byzantine engineers understood materials compatibility before modern chemistry existed. They recognized that petroleum-sealed wooden ships were vulnerable to petroleum-based weapons. They built a delivery system that exploited this vulnerability with mechanical precision. The legend survives because later societies lost the systematic knowledge, not because the weapon was supernatural. Medieval technology wasn't primitive. It was specialized. When specialization dies, capability dies. Understanding this matters because it corrects the dangerous assumption that medieval warfare was crude, that medieval engineers were guessing, that effective weapons required modern science. The Byzantines didn't have chemical formulas. They had empirical observation, iterative testing, and institutional memory. That was enough. Greek fire succeeded not through mystery, but through mechanics. Not through terror, but through materials science. At arms and impact, that's the history we uncover. Where medieval weapons win through physics, not magic. If this changed how you see medieval weapons, hit like. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting Arms and Impact.